So, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is on its way to its second season of content. Slated to release sometime in October and bound to last until the end of 2024, with Season 3 kicking off at the beginning of the new year, come 2025. So what kind of content are we expecting in Space Marine Season 2? Well, as always, we're going to look into that and inform gamers of the good stuff to come. Before we begin, please consider clicking the like button and hitting subscribe with the bell notification so to stay up to date with new videos, as it helps out tremendously. So grab your chainsword and let's get into this. So let's kick this off by looking at the roadmap Saber Interactive has provided us. An important thing to mention is, you guessed it, no release date yet. It was said to be released sometime in October, so we can only assume it's most likely going to go live sometime in the middle of the month, as I'm sure the developers are going to want as much time to work on this update. As we take a look and break this down, we observe that we can expect some new PvE missions for Operations Mode. Looking at the image shown here, it seems to be a fog-type swamp, or forest biome with a heavy green haze. Now, although just a simple image, we can of course speculate about the nature of some of these new operations. These spikes rising from the ground could in some way be related to Tyranids, so we could probably expect the main enemy in this specific mission to be a horde of Tyranids. Now, it does state that there will be new PvE missions, however the exact number is unknown at the time of making this video. If I had to speculate, maybe 3 new operations missions would be the sweet spot for this season. Now to end this off, it's pretty important to mention that we are getting new operations missions without any campaign DLC, and the whole gimmick for operations is that they take place during crucial moments of the main campaign's events. Maybe we'll see this tie into the story pretty well, but until then, we'll just have to wait and see. Coming up next, we have the confirmation of a new difficulty that I'm going to assume applies to operations: lethal difficulty. Now just by looking at this, it's pretty obvious that this is to be even more difficult than Ruthless, and let me tell you, that difficulty was hard enough as is, even though they've been tweaking it. You're going to need an elite team of players to clear out one of these missions, and I'm definitely going to be the first one to say, don't even attempt this difficulty solo. You're just asking for it at that point. I'd like to see how they could improve on Ruthless without making enemies into hyper-lethal bullet sponges, and just limiting your resources and upping the enemy count. I would like to see them get creative. So on screen we have right here the first look at a new weapon to be introduced into Space Marine 2, the Neo Volkite pistol. Unfortunately, this is the only confirmed new weapon coming with Season 2, a sidearm of all things. No primary weapons or melee weapons, which is a little disappointing, but it is what it is. I looked into some of the lore of this weapon and weapons just like it, and I was able to gather that it is a thermal heat ray of some sort, capable of melting an enemy away with a well-placed shot. Judging from that, I can only assume it will be a Pocket Lasfusi, a precision weapon with high damage but very little ammo, and a slow rate of fire to balance it out against the bolt and plasma pistols. I can only speculate of course, but it's probably not going to be a good way of clearing weapon for PvE, but a nice precision sidearm, difficult to wield but extremely rewarding for the PvP mode. I can't wait to test it out. Now to wrap up the content provided to all players through free updates is a supposed new enemy. Now I've done a little bit of research online, and the general consensus is that this statement specifically refers to a new enemy type, and not a new faction as a whole. Once again, this is a little disappointing, but with such a focused game, I'd rather take a very well polished handful of content, as opposed to a bunch of rushed mediocre content. It is however a little frustrating, though, as I pointed out in my review, what this game needs right now is the content. I do have the confidence in the abilities of the directors, so I'm looking forward to Season 2. And finally, Season Pass holders get access to some new premium cosmetics. With the arrival of Season 2, players will now get to customize their Space Marines and equipment with the new Dark Angel Chapter cosmetics, a champion pack, a cosmetic pack, and a weapon skin pack. The Dark Angels are considered among the most powerful and secretive of the Space Marines, and they actually stand first amongst the Space Marine chapters. As we take a look at the Dark Angels, we can observe here that their main color is a deep, militarized green with white and red accents, creating a pretty intimidating look to show off in the Eternal War mode. The roadmap also mentions a weapon skin pack, which is always good for customization, and in my opinion, we need a lot more of it. Hopefully in the future they introduce more weapon customization, as the current selection is good, but a little more options would be great. So with that, we finally come to the conclusion of what to expect in Space Marine 2 Season 2. In my personal opinion, I like what we're getting, but I just can't help reiterating the fact that if Space Marine 2 wants to live a full life cycle, they really need to provide players with state-of-the-art content within the months to come. At this point in time, the game is fresh, it's popular, and people online are talking about the game. Video games are always the most popular at the beginning of their life cycles, and if the developers can get their game on, player retention will not be a problem. So as we wrap it up, as always, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more videos in the future.